Hi, sweetheart. So while I have just another minute, I wanted to talk to you guys about in a nutshell, what it's been like loving the same man from a 14-year-old boy to a 47-year-old man. Absolutely, what an incredible experience. And it hasn't been all sunshine, roses, daisies, peaches and cream and all that good stuff. It has been hard work for both of us. It has been a massive amount of determination and perseverance, because you can only imagine the amount of growing pains you have going from 14 to 47. It is truly an incredible experience. But I just tell you that, what I see very often is women go from man to man to man to man. Every time a problem comes up or a challenge comes up, they just go, oh, well, this one isn't the right one. And they start all over with somebody else. I'm blessed by God, because when I saw my husband literally at 14 years old at the first football game, the Jamboree, I saw him and I'm not even kidding you guys, it was love at first sight. It was like I had been looking for him my whole little life, to 14 years old. I always had this image in my mind of who I was attracted to, and it was like, bam, there he was. So, I did, go over and say, you are fine. And anyway, he had some funny comments for me, but it all just, came together, and it was really difficult for me, because he really loved me very much as a young man, that young first love that we had. We were both virgins, all that kind of stuff, and we had a very deep bond. But he's still a young man, so of course he still had all these desires and curiosities. So I really had to hang in there during the years where he went to college, and I was like a half a semester behind him because I suck at school. So anyway, and he just was at this in-between point where he's like, I'm not ready to get married. And I was like, I'm ready to get married. I'm ready to move in. Like, let's go. I had to wait for him, and he told me, I love you. But I had to wait for him, and it was hard. It was really, really hard. I didn't do very well with my emotional state, but ultimately, hung in there. And when the time was right, we moved in together. Then we ended up getting engaged, and then quickly after we got married. So, and even after we got married, there was all these challenges and, obstacles. And it's like every season you have new challenges, you have new obstacles. And certain things will be reoccurring in your life, especially if you have a fine man who women are attracted to. So he's been, by all human mortal standards, a saint. I mean, God bless him. There's so much he could have done. And, I've told him so many times, like, you've been with me your whole life. I don't blame you if you want to be with somebody else, which is where the whole, we went into the whole second wife thing. And then we just ended up saying, nope, forget it. It's just too much going on out here. And it's hard to vet women. I give you that. It is really hard. Or you have to have time and definitely resources. So anywho, that's like a full-time job. If you're actually looking for a wife, woo. Anyway, so, but we've been through where he's almost died many times. And I'm grateful that I've been there. I'm able to nurse him back to health, going through those transitions, going through having the young babies and finding the time to make love and quickies and sandwiches and whatever needs to be done, because we've been just, thank you God, incredibly passionate. Love, the sex, the lovin's, I call it lovin's, has been amazing since the very beginning. I definitely don't recommend starting at 14 years old, but we both were 14 years old. So it is what it is, and I'm just lucky. I'm lucky that I picked the right one and we made it together. That's really crazy, and it's very rare. So, but again, each season has had its challenges. I had to get used to, as he got older, he became even more masculine, confident. This is how it's going to be, blah, 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 blah. He was always that way. But as he got older, it got even more defined, he was even more clear and direct. And I was like, ooh, okay. And I had to learn to understand that even if I was emotional about things, I didn't like something, it really didn't matter, because he's like, I work, I come home, I go to the gym. Once in a while I'll go out with my friends. Of course, those were more in the early years than now, but again, seasons, I had to learn, okay, don't complain, let him alone, otherwise he's going to feel like he's trapped, and he had a good time with his friends, and he always came home. So, yeah. And then I had to learn that I couldn't do the same thing. It's not the same. He'd always tell me, nobody's going to kidnap and rape me, honey. And I'm like, okay, fine. All these different things, just different stages, where he worked a whole bunch of overtime, and now he works a lot because he's close to the end of his career. But to watch him grow from, he was making $28,000 when we first got together, got married. And we shared one car for the first 8 years so that I could be a stay-at-home mom, because he wanted me to raise the children, and he said they're only young once, enjoy them. And I really appreciate that. And then now, just consistently grew, doing better and better and better. He's well in the six figures, and I am so proud of him, and he's just taught himself so much. He taught himself how to invest. He taught himself just so many things, and taught himself about the crypto market and all these different types of things. And he tries to teach me, God bless his soul, which is a frustrating thing, but it is just, life is full of challenges, changes, and you have to, especially as a woman, be very adaptable to whichever way he's flowing. You have to follow him. And he has different hobbies. It changes from different seasons. He did lacrosse. He did hockey. Softball with the guys at work, basketball, of course, baseball, but, what else? Quite a few different sports, and had a great time. Other times he always had workout partners. And so sometimes he'd work out before work and after work, so twice a day, doing different things, and I had to understand. And every now and then when I was emotional, I'd be like, do you have to go? And he's like, honey, yes, I do. And I'll be back, So it's very challenging as a man to stick by your guns and continue to do what you need to do, but your woman will respect you, and if women could just learn that if you have a good-willed man, he's not going to be perfect. You have to hang in there and work through whatever comes up. Again, we had where he was having some conversations, texting back and forth with one of our old friends from high school. And then, I freaked out thinking all kinds of stuff was happening. Nothing was happening. And I've been friends with her for, probably almost a year. And this is someone I did not like at all, because even 20 years ago, she tried to see if my husband would come out and go to the movies with her. She just wanted to be friends with him. And I was like, well, you shouldn't invite us both. But at this point, she's like, well, if we ever go anywhere, we're all going. I was like, great. But anyway, it turned out that she was in a relationship that she did not want to be in, but she has to be in. She has a child with the man, and he's very territorial and protective, and she's depressed and all kinds of things. She's on medication and and I actually ended up feeling bad for her. And I actually tried to see if we could all go out to dinner together, and just like I was just facing all my fears, like, let's go. And it turned out that she really can't go anywhere, so all these things that I was depressed and afraid and freaking out about, when I should have just took his word for it, because he told me nothing happened. He's not met with her, period. And I'm just telling you that our imagination goes crazy, and we think, well, there's no way, that's not possible, it must have been. And no, we're so much better off just taking him at his word. If he's a good-willed man, he's shown you a history of, being consistent and coming home and all those things. It's different when you're with somebody that they lie and they cheat all the time. Then that's the kind of person that is. But I'm just saying, I did cause myself a lot of problems by taking things way out of control and screwing up my whole brain. So it took me a lot to get back to, where I should be mentally. And that's why I've always given Mr. Samuels credit for that, because I had to get it through my brain that even if he did at any point in time, before, now, later, the man's not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. I am the queen. I am the missus. My name's on everything. You know what I'm saying? I am the emergency contact. I am the life insurance policy person. I'm everything. So I know that he's not going anywhere. And I also had to just face the reality. And it still bugs me every now and then, because I'm like, I don't look at anybody, but I'm not a man, And of course, I think the young women are beautiful and attractive. So of course he's going to. It's like, duh. But because I'm getting older, it is the challenge of just accepting the fact that, of course, they're still beautiful and young, and you're not ever going to be anymore. But I have to just be grateful that he still loves me after all these years, that he's been very incredible to me. He's been very good to me. I had told him go to Colombia, and he's like, no, that's okay. We'll go on our own trips and blah, blah, blah. And so, I've offered him everything from, let's call an escort. We'll do threesome, whatever you want. I just want to know, what do you want? He's given his whole life to me, sacrificed his whole life to me. I've not had to work a day since I've had kids, with him. He's taken care of me, I worked through high school, so I had some work experience and whatnot, but I don't have to. He's taken care of me. And he's been good to me. He's been loving to me. He's never stopped being passionate or making love to me and desiring me, even though the times when I gained so much weight and this and that. And I'm like, what more can you ask of a man? I've told him, you love me more than any mortal man is humanly possible. I mean, God bless you. So it's something. It is something. But all I'm saying is that women have to understand it's not going to be a perfect ride. It's not going to be where no little bumps or hiccups come along, or you're going to be happy about every single thing that he does, or who he talks to, or whatever, what he looks at, you know what I mean? And you just have to realize how blessed you are, how lucky you are. And the younger that you get with him, the better. And you guys can bond, and you bond to him. And it really is more important that you're absolutely crazy about him and that you would do anything for him versus the other way around, because women for some reason become repelled if a man's too sweet, if he's too catering, if he gives in too much, because then he's not standing his ground. He's not standing on his laurels. Is that how it's called? I don't know. And being the man, being the leader, being in charge, being the boss. The majority of us are attracted to the man that puts his foot down, the man that puts us in our place, See, the man that is the man, and he's a good man. So he's not going to be Jesus. That's okay, and we just have to stop wrecking our homes, leaving good men to go out in the streets for what? And the dating market is so horrendous. I mean, I've never wanted to be with anybody ever again anyway, but there's definitely no doubt I would never, ever, ever, for the love of God, put myself out there again. Nope, wouldn't do it. I told you, I'll just be a nun. I want to look like Sophia Loren. Sophia Loren nun, and go volunteer in the orphanages or something. But, so I'm grateful. And again, with the dangerous job he has and being 47, I don't take any day for granted. I know that many men in his field die early. We're praying, God help him. And I'm trying to help him be healthier with the eats and all that stuff. And when they retire, many of them, the average is they die a year after they retire. And that's scary. That's so sad. You work your whole life, you serve the community the whole life, and then that's it. It's like, no way. So we're at that point in life, and it's really something. It really is. There's so much more, but just to give you the overall nutshell of loving from a boy to a man, and a man has different stages, you know. You think a man's a man at 20, it's like every decade he just gets better. His muscles are better. He's bigger. He's just phenomenal, you know. I mean, it's incredible. So, I don't know. I wish you guys the best. And even if you're not a virgin, you know what? Like I've told you guys, stop. Just don't hook up. Be patient. You need a father figure, mentor, pastor, matchmaker, somebody to help you get with a good-willed man, and stop looking for perfection. 80-20, 80% what you like, 20% what you don't like, and just make it happen. The sooner the better, and learn to work with that man for the rest of your life. That's what I suggest. So all right, anyway, I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. And I'm grateful. I'm very grateful, but we have both worked very hard. And, you know, again, I submit myself completely to my husband. Whatever is his desire, wish, want, that's what I'm going to do. And that's worked. It's worked the best. You know, I'm just grateful he still wants me, he still loves me, and, you know, tells me I'm beautiful, and he's very kind. So anywho, and we've set a good example for the kids, and I want us to go out well as well. You know, some people go their whole life, then get divorced when they're old. It's like, oh my goodness, you almost made it. So that is not in our vocabulary. So if you ever get tired of me, you can put me up in a tower. You just have to, part of the deal is you have to come visit me once a week and give me that D. Because it is good. I said, otherwise I'll go insane. And he's like, get out of here. I'm like, well, I'm not lying. So anyway, all right, I'm going to go. Bye.